Some events are so strange, they sound like fiction, but every story in this series really happened. Welcome to Episode 1 of World's Strangest Events. Imagine walking through the streets of Boston on an ordinary winter afternoon. Children are playing, workers are returning home, horse-drawn wagons roll through the narrow, sleepy streets. Nothing seems unusual. Then, a deafening roar echoes across the neighborhood. People look up, and what they see is almost impossible to believe. A massive steel tank has exploded, but it isn't filled with water, it's filled with molasses. Within seconds, a giant wave of thick, sticky syrup races through the streets, swallowing everything in its path. Buildings begin collapsing, people run for their lives, horses struggle to escape. The entire neighborhood is transformed into a nightmare. This is the unbelievable story of the Great Molasses Flood. To understand how this happened, we need to go back a few years. In Boston's North End stood a gigantic steel storage tank owned by the Purity Distilling Company. The tank was over 15 meters tall and could hold millions of liters of molasses. Molasses wasn't just used as a sweetener, it was an important ingredient in making industrial alcohol, which had become increasingly valuable during the time. The tank was filled again and again as shipments arrived from the Caribbean. But something wasn't right. Residents living nearby noticed strange noises coming from the tank. It groaned, it creaked. Sometimes they even heard loud cracking sounds. Soon dark molasses began leaking through small gaps in the steel. Children would sometimes collect the dripping syrup in small containers. Instead of repairing the tank properly, workers often painted it brown, not to strengthen it, but simply to hide the leaks. Then came January 15th, 1919. The weather had suddenly become much warmer after days of freezing temperatures. Inside the tank, pressure continued to build. At around 12:30 in the afternoon, the impossible happened. The giant steel tank burst apart. Millions of liters of molasses exploded outward in every direction. Witnesses described a towering wave rushing through the streets with incredible force. The thick syrup smashed buildings from their foundations. Railway supports bent, wagons were thrown aside. People who couldn't escape were trapped in the heavy, sticky flood. Rescuers rushed toward the disaster. Firefighters, police officers, soldiers, ordinary citizens. Everyone worked together to pull survivors from the thick molasses. But every step was difficult. The syrup clung to boots. It trapped equipment. It slowed every rescue attempt. As the evening grew colder, the molasses became even thicker, making rescue efforts even more challenging. In the days that followed, the city faced an enormous cleanup operation. Workers used seawater, pumps, and countless hours of labor to remove the sticky mess from streets and buildings. Even after the cleanup, many people claimed they could still smell molasses throughout the neighborhood for years. The disaster shocked the entire country. Investigators searched for answers. How could such a massive tank fail so suddenly? Engineers examined the broken steel. Witnesses shared what they had seen. Experts studied the construction. Eventually, investigators concluded that the tank had serious design and construction problems. It had not been built to withstand the enormous pressure placed upon it. Combined with changing temperatures and the weight of its contents, disaster became inevitable. The tragedy also led to one of the earliest major legal cases involving corporate responsibility in the United States. Families affected by the disaster sought justice. The case lasted for years. Its outcome helped encourage stronger engineering standards and improve safety regulations for large industrial structures. More than a century has passed since that winter afternoon. Today, Boston has changed. Modern buildings stand where the disaster once unfolded. Thousands of people walk those streets every day, often unaware of the extraordinary history beneath their feet. The Great Molasses Flood reminds us that even ordinary places can hold unbelievable stories. It also reminds us that engineering, safety, and accountability are written not only through success, but through the lessons learned from tragedy. History is stranger than fiction, and this was just one of the world's strangest events. I'll see you in the next episode.